At the outset, let me congratulate Dr. Sendil for putting together something like this. I don't think I have been part of something like this to discuss about the other side of ophthalmology, the non-clinical side of ophthalmology. I think very innovative and timely meeting for all of us to deliberate, and having all the stalwarts here on the stage makes all the difference. So my topic today, I know we are a little late, running a little late. I'll try to be as precise as possible. My topic is creating a value-based organization right from start. So what do we mean by value? I'm going to share what Aravind Eye Care System did, and probably some lessons that I can share from that. If you want to really do a long-term thinking and build an institution, businesses are different from institutions. If you build a temple, if you build a church, if you build a mosque, you're building an institution. You don't build a mosque because the value will be 10 times in 5 years from now. You're not looking at valuation of a church, valuation of a temple. So it's a very different mindset. It's like bringing up your family. When you bring up your family, you don't talk about what is my return because I'm feeding my child every day. I'm investing on my child every day. So it's a different mindset when you approach institution versus when you approach a business. So in our case, we had a visionary founder who started this at the age of 58. So his vision was to eliminate needless blindness by providing high quality, high volume, compassionate eye care to all. So what does it mean to be a leader who builds an institution? One is owning the problem. You know, we all make resources, we all make, it makes business sense to be in this field, but somebody has to own the problem of blindness in the community. Somebody is blind and we have the solution. Is it not fair to be part of the solution and give it to as many people as possible? So that's definitely one element of being if you take a temple, right? If it stays 1,000 years, the person who builds is not going to get the benefit. Maybe the next generation, 3 generations down the line does not get the benefit, but the society and the community and generations together get the benefit. It's like planting a tree. You may not enjoy it, but there are other people who would enjoy it eventually. So that's where you need a far-sightedness. Go beyond the near-term fluctuations, whatever happens, but look at the long-term benefits that can outlive our own lives in the near future. And also there is some amount of selflessness. You know, nothing is built overnight. Many of us sitting in this room, I'm sure your parents have been very selfless. To be where you are, to be able to, we are all part of the 0.1% of this country. None of us are less than 0.1% of this country. We are the fortunate few who can sit in this room and talk about things very differently than 99.9% of this country will speak about. So there is some amount of sacrifice that is part of how you can build an institution. And lead by example. All of us are leaders. All of our organization people work. And we take care of families. Families, we are accountable for families. It is not something that we do. Apart from patients, if you have 20 employees, 30 employees, 100 employees, 200 employees, 200 families are dependent on you. What responsibility do we have as leaders to take care of them in the longevity? What happens to their valuation? What happens to their kids? How do they see the world? All of that becomes part of your thinking when you're building an institution. And maintain a simple lifestyle. Again, I'm quoting from Dr. V's life. Again, we are all part of that ecosystem, right? There are people, apart from the doctors, all of them are getting a 15,000 rupee salary or 20,000 rupee salary. How are they looking at us? So that's something which one has to be cognizant of when we are trying to build a team and build an institution. And sharing and building capacity in others. You can't do everything by yourself, so you need to give and share and learn with each other. So I'll let Dr. V speak to you. Can you click on this video, please? There is audio also. Can you click on the video? Oh, sorry, I don't have. Yeah.
I used to sit with the ordinary village man because I am from a village. And suddenly he turned around and then you seem to contact his inner being. You seem to be one with him. But here is a soul which has got all the simplicity of confidence. Doctor, whatever you say, I accept it. An implicit faith in you. And then you responded. Here is an old lady who has got so much faith in me. I must do my best for her. When we grow in spiritual consciousness, we identify ourselves with all that is in the world. So there is no exploitation. It is ourselves we are helping. It is ourselves we are healing.
So the point is, we are all part of a large community. We all have to nurture this community. It is not that the community does not stop with our lifetime. The community keeps going. Our children have to live well. Our grandchildren have to live well. So how do you pass on this nurturing? That we all do it in the family. We sacrifice so much for our children. The grandparents sacrifice so much for their grandchildren. So that was the thought process that one needs. That's what we saw in our founder, but probably that's the thought process one needs in building an institution. So Arvind does a lot of free work, and we see free as charity. I would like to challenge that thought. To Arvind, free is not charity. Free is the most integral element for Arvind. Free gives us, or community care gives us a tremendous community acceptance. We can go anywhere and start a hospital, at least within our service area. The community accepts us reasonably quickly because of the large presence and accessibility that this institution gives. And because you're able to provide community care, you're able to build a scale. Scale does not happen overnight. You create, your doors are open. You enable people to come in and provide that care. And because of that, you need to bring in efficiency in what you do. If you're operating 5 surgeries a day versus 500 surgery, your way of thinking and working is very different. And also you build in frugality. How do you do cataract surgery within 850 rupees or 1,000 rupees in a free patient hospital or a subsidized hospital? So that gives you the DNA of being frugal. And also it allows you to train people in reasonable numbers. So free is not free. In fact, if you ask me at Arvind, the free care or the community care gives us more than what we get from the paying care. Paying care gives us something, definitely. It gives us surplus. We are able to build hospitals, build something. All of us are beneficiaries of the paying patients giving us resources. They focus on outcomes. They have a choice. They are the informed customers. They can understand who is giving good care. They can Google. They can talk to somebody. And they also look for service quality. They need good place to sit, air conditioned, pleasant people to work with, and have a professional atmosphere. And they also ask for technology. They demand for technology. Do you do this latest surgery? I would like to have latest surgery. So the challenge is, how do you build the balance between those two? Those two are not against each other. Those two are complementing each other, is the point I'm trying to make here. So this is our new hospital in Chennai. I'm going to take this as a case in point. How do we go about building a new organization in Chennai, and how do we go about building an organization in a value-based framework? So when we build an organization, we look at what is the population that we serve. So if you take Chennai and neighboring districts, Chennai is well served. There are great institutions, wonderful private practitioners who are doing amazingly high-quality work. So we have not come here for that. We have come here for the 12 million people who are in the neighboring districts of Kanchipuram, Vellore, and Tiruvallur. That's the population that we are covering. That will be 95% of our patient pool. 5% may come from Chennai city. We are in Chennai city because it's accessible to people. We are also located in such a way that it's accessible to these 3 districts. So that was the thought process in trying to build an institution. And that's why our pricing is very similar to whatever pricing we have in all the other hospitals, to be able to get the people from these districts who are probably today not getting the care. Where am I getting this data? If you look at the cataract surgical rate of Chennai city and Chennai, about 4 million people, is about 13 to 13,500 surgeries per million, highest in the state. Whereas if you go to Tiruvallur or Vellore or Kanchipuram, it is about 6,500 to 7,000. So there is half this, like 100% more work is happening in Chennai, but 100% less work is happening in the other districts. So that's why, that's the logic behind coming into a community like this. So what are the basics? The patient comes first. Strive for a single visit service. It's very important, is what we realize. Patients can't come again and again. Alleviate the constraint. That's a constant journey. How do you enable, debottleneck the system so that people can come in and take care? And keep the resources well balanced and the systems efficient, be transparent, and constantly measure and adapt. So our way of work, if you really ask me what is that this organization does, one has a strong value and culture. I spoke to you about thinking long-term, nurturing an organization, not trying to look at valuation for a one generation, for a 10-year horizon. Be accountable for the organization, be accountable for the community, and also feel that we are all responsible citizens of a community where we have a skill that we have to share, and manage people better. You know, I think employee management is something, they are not working for us, they are working with us. Because of them, we are where we are. So that thinking is very, very important thinking in how we approach the people that work with us. Obviously, systems thinking, I'm sure a lot of it is going to be discussed here. Innovation is a way to go. Problem solving, all of us have problems. You know, I think the size of the problem may vary, but the problems are always there. Small institutions, practitioners, big institution, doesn't matter. How do you approach problem and solve them? And also, how do you share information? So on our core values, this is our core values, 7 core values: making eye care accessible to all, quality and continuous improvement, be patient-centric, and be compassionate as an organization. So, you know, sometimes you don't create value all the time. You know, sometimes if you wear a business hat, you're looking to create value at every interaction. And that's really not the right way to look at it. Imagine if you're raising a family, you don't try to create a value every time you talk with your spouse, or you talk with your children, or you talk with your uncle, or you talk with your father. There are sometimes you have to leave the value on the table for others to take. And that's very important as an organization to realize. Leave a lot of value for the community on the table. The community comes back to you and is much more magnanimous than what we can think they are. Self-reliance is very important. And frugality as an individual who is part of the organization, but also as an organization, sharing and being staff-centered. So what does accountability mean? Clear goals. Everyone should know their responsibilities, having a tracking system to measure progress, completion of a task. So one is spirituality and working from the heart. But if you really want to get it right, you have to get your head straight. You will have to monitor what is happening, because again, you are responsible for the community. People don't come for an individual doctor to an institution. People come for the institution. Institution becomes more responsible and should honor its commitment towards an individual patient. So institution should track the outcomes, should ensure that everything is done properly. Punctuality, again, another important thing, that whether we show up on time. Patients are vulnerable when they come to us. Do we treat them with dignity? So that's an important element. Though it may look very trivial, but those are the small things that make a big difference if you kind of compound it over a period of time. And being well groomed as a doctor. I mean, I think private practitioners are really good, you know, they are groomed. But sometimes when you go to an institution, some of the providers need not be well groomed. So one has to be very conscious, are we having a team that is groomed? So in people management, what we have learned over time is value fit is more important than skill fit. We don't want type A personalities. We don't want the top of the line IQ people. We want people with a strong, balanced outlook on life. People who have struggled in their life, people who have gone through some kind of a challenge in their life that makes them more balanced as individuals, not getting carried away with the fad of the time. And also communicate about leadership responsibilities, being a role model, consensus building. Some of it is you are all familiar with. Clear goals is something which is very important, is what we realize. Sometimes in our own teams, imagine we are all like a football team. You know, all the 11 players should know the goal of this match is to put the ball into that goal. Sometimes all the 11 of us don't even talk to each other in our team. They don't even know what is the common goal. So it is important for us to come together as a team and keep talking about it and how to make this work. Again, people management, training and development, both internal and external. Know your people. I keep reinforcing that. We are responsible for a team. We are responsible for families. That should not be taken slightly. That is a very, very, very important aspect of what we do. At the end of the day, when you are kind of looking back at your career, it is not how much you have made that is going to satisfy you. It is how many lives you have touched directly as a doctor, and also how many families you have cared for and their children, how they do. That will give you more satisfaction at a certain point of life, and we have to invest on that as we keep working. Obviously, systems thinking. Some of these, you don't have to solve the problem all by yourself. There are a lot of people who have solved before time, and also take and look at the whole system together. Like insurance, we were just talking about it. Insurance, I'm not worried. Insurance is tsunami, it will affect everybody. It will affect Arvind, it will affect you, it will affect everybody. If it affects everybody, then it's not a problem. We will all figure out together. If it affects me, I have a cancer, or my institution has a cancer, that's a killer. So something that threatens all of us is good. It keeps us awake. We will figure out a way and fight it, is what I would think on something like a Ayushman Bharat. Innovation, again, constantly strive to look for new things. I mean, what gives us joy? The joy is, can we do something better than what we did yesterday? At the end of the day, I'm sure all of you, many of you are surgeons here, a good surgery will give you more joy than anything else in your profession. A good outcome, not that the patient comes and thanks you. When you know you have done that well, when you know that the outcome is good, that satisfaction is priceless. I don't think you can put a value on it from a money perspective. Problem solving, I spoke about owning the problem, root cause analysis. Again, there's a very important thing. A lot of times we run away from problems. I think, how do small practices become larger, or larger practices become institution? Is they have surmounted the problem. How do you climb Mount Everest? You climb Mount Everest by climbing small cliffs. You don't jump on a helicopter and sit on a top of the Mount Everest. That's not called climbing Mount Everest. So I think the problems are the opportunities that are given to us to be able to scale up a peak. Financial viability is a very important aspect for all of us. I think we have to make a viable organization. Mind you, large corporate hospitals are not as profitable as we think. Why is Fortis selling out? You look at the balance sheets of big hospitals like Apollo and others, they are not as profitable as you would see in an ophthalm practice. So let's not get carried away that all the corporate, they may have a shiny hospital, a lot of things might allure us, but what you see is not what is deep within. So I think what we have is something great going. We should cherish what we all have and not try to ape somebody and fall flat on our face. Finally, if you really look at an organization, look at your own practices. What is your practice? What is your practice? Is it your physical infrastructure, a good-looking building, well-planned building, or a fancy equipment? Is that your organization? Is that what you have created? Or your intellectual infrastructure, your degrees, your staff, your people, your skills and all that? Finally, what makes your organization is the emotional infrastructure, like families, right? You can't say, get a 45-year-old male, 40-year-old female, 16-year-old boy, 12-year-old girl, from now on you're a family. That doesn't work that way. You will have to be married, you will have to raise children, the whole process of going through the difficulties make a family. I'm sure the message I would like to leave on this table is, there are ways to build institutions, there are ways to build businesses, and we should be clear which is a business objective and which is an institutional objective. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arvind. I now request Dr. Senthil to present a memento to Dr. Arvind.